So this video gets into the Sisters of Battle, which if you don't follow along or you don't know, I tend to really love badass ladies kicking ass, taking the names, doing the things. Now, this Sisters of Battle explained by Major Kill. I just looked up on YouTube Sisters of Battle, and this is what came up. So if it sucks, I'm sorry, and it's my own video, so I'll happily veto it if it's not particularly good. So no worries at that either. I agree, Redeemer. I think the orcs seem like way more fun. Sounds good. Cool. Oh God, Major Kill, the most vulgar Warhammer YouTuber. He's great. Okay. Oh, I like vulgarity. Oh, maybe I'll enjoy this then. Okay, here we go. I mean, I enjoy a lot of things, you guys. I don't know if you can tell, but I do like vulgarity. So let's see if this is up my alley. Here we go.
G'day, guys and gal. Warhammer 40k is a very masculine setting. We have roided up space marines, deliciously oiled demigods, and oversized man-children. This, combined with the influence of a very male-dominated company, means that the hormone of the day is testosterone. Despite this fact, our glorious neckbeard overlords have discovered a way to not only include girls in the setting, but make them flourish. I introduce Space Nuns with Guns. To be honest, I find this is a totally appropriate way to represent women in Warhammer. They wear armor that genuinely looks like it protects them, unlike all other female armor in male-dominated franchises. And they still do really cooked grimdark shit as well. The Sisters of Battle, as well as the Sisters of Silence, perfectly represent and display female super soldiers in the franchise, hence why there are literally no genuine calls for girl space marines. This also might be because there's like 3 girls that play Warhammer, but that part is irrelevant. Now just quickly, before all you lore nerds crack it at me, yes, I'm aware that the Adeptus Sororitas and the Sisters of Battle are not the exact same thing.
Okay.
I know that the Sororitas is the name of the entire organization, and the Sisters of Battle are the military wing of that organization.
Okay.
However, I will use the two terms interchangeably because it really doesn't fucking matter. Today we'll go over who the sisters are and where they come from. We'll also look at what they're currently up to and if they're actually hot or ugly as shit. Before we get started though, we are so close to a massive Patreon goal of mine, which will result, for better or for worse, the production of 2 calendars. One featuring me and a hot naked chick, and the other one featuring custom Warhammer hentai, made by 12 distinct hentai artists with their own unique styles. So far I have 3 of those artists, so if you are a hentai artist or you know one, then shoot me through the details and I'll look at getting something commissioned through them/you. Only $1 on Patreon helps me out a shitload and if you guys access to a lot of naughty goodies, so please consider it if you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. The Sisters of Battle, Brides of the Emperor, Adeptus Sororitas, Bolter Bitches, Nuns with Guns, or simply the Dominatrixes, are a relatively new faction that formed due to some religious people doing typical religious stuff, as well as a cheeky bugger exploiting a legal loophole. We haven't really covered much of the mid-30th millennium on this channel, because all the exciting shit is either happening now or 10,000 years ago, but the Sisters were a highlight of it, so we get to learn a bit about it today. The Imperium, despite being a unified empire, is a very divided place. All the political parties, the Inquisition, the Administorium, the Ecclesiarchy, the Astartes, the Mechanicus, they all vie for varying degrees of political and physical power within the Imperium. This all came to a head when some dick called Georges Van Dyer was able to lie, manipulate and assassinate until he became the head of the Ecclesiarchy and the Ministerium, making him the most powerful man in the Imperium. He exploited religion to basically drive half of humanity into a violent, zealous rage. Overall, he sucked, but due to the Astartes and Mars, the other 2 most powerful organizations, not really giving a shit about people, he was allowed to continue his bullshit. The Custodians also didn't really care, as the Emperor was not directly threatened by a bunch of wacky bitches whipping themselves while jacking off onto the Bible. During this madness, Georges heard of a convent of hyper-faithful women.
And yes, I love the lewdness. It's definitely my language.
On some planet. They were totally devout to the Emperor in every way, shape and form. As such, Georges wanted them to serve him directly, as it would look like the Emperor had his back. Using a cheap magic trick, Georges was able to convince the nuns that he was the chosen of the Emperor, hence they agreed to become his bodyguards. I'm sure he also used them for other things, but the writers don't really go there. They were trained within an inch of their life, brainwashed with the religious fervour so much that they basically made them unbreakable super soldiers. They were then equipped with Sermite power armour and bolters, hence making them a genuine match for Astartes, at least in ranged combat anyway. Eventually the galaxy rose up against Van Dyer, and instead of fixing his ways or attempting to gain new allies, Van Dyer declared all Astartes and Martians to be traitors and heretics, then locked himself in his palace with a couple thousand Sisters of Battle to protect him and probably help him relieve some tension. Don't worry, baby, the Emperor said it was okay. The Astartes were like, fuck this bitch, and drop-potted straight at the palace. However, they were actually held back by the Sisters of Battle. To the credit of the sisters, the Astartes literally couldn't get through to the palace, hence the battle was drawn out for months. But Major Kill, that's bullshit! How do the legendary Astartes struggle to beat some unaugmented chicks? Shut your fucking mouth, Timmy, and have some respect for the ladies. The Sisters of Battle outnumbered the Astartes and matched them in firepower, armor, and determination.
Okay.
The Sisters' faith in the Emperor also pushed them beyond normal limits.
I was gonna say, like, belief, morale, all of that is outrageously important if in winning anything. So, you know, if there is a deep love or a deep commitment to something, I think that you gain points, I guess. I don't know what fucking points, but you know what I'm saying. Oh, you were referring to fighting the orcs. Okay. Cool. Damn, love the one in front. I just love looking at hardcore, like, battling women. It's just so fun. Lord above, I hate the rhetoric of WoW, but how dare fantasy armor be unrealistic? What did I stumble upon? That's my boot. First of all, fantasy is fantasy, so of course it doesn't have to be realistic. And second of all, if you can use magic as armor, of course you'll wear less real armor. Magic is literally weightless, allowing you to not need as much armor to obtain the same level of protection. Not only that, but it's cheaper and thus makes sense in every feasible way. The people who think the only way it makes sense purely for sexual appeal are fucking stupid, says Redeemer of Dark. I've always thought that armor like that would be a detriment to fighting, personally. And so I always thought it made sense when you'd see like a female character wearing less clothing. And I don't know. We've had this conversation before on the show. It doesn't, because yeah, Redeemer makes a great point, because it's fantasy, you know, like I think, like I said in previous episodes of this stream, is like when I watch something like this and I see these women, it's like, yeah, there's something about that like charges me and gets me like super excited, right? It's in publications like fitness magazines or health magazines when every single woman looks a certain way. That's when it becomes an issue in my world, because there's a differentiation between the medium. Right? If you're looking at a health magazine and all you see are gazelle-like thin women, that sends a message that there's something not healthy about you. Right? Whereas this is fantasy. And he's right. It's mostly guys that play it. So fucking let them have their fantasies. Jesus. So I'm right there with you, Redeemer. Yeah, the sisters were interesting when they first were released lore-wise. I see people so busy being offended and insisting on reducing everything that they don't like to shallow nonsense that they're unbelievably blind to the obvious facts of the matter. Of course, I'd wade lingerie about battle. I would definitely. All right, so also you guys have to understand, like, I have no objection to dressing scantily clad. And if you've ever met me in person, you know that I am a person who is a scantily clad dresser. I love wearing as little as possible. And if it was appropriate to wear less clothing, I would wear less clothing. But it's highly inappropriate, unfortunately. And not like I'm a exhibitionist. No, I don't love like nude beaches or anything like that. I just love a sexy outfit. Like, I just love a really good, like an outfit that just like enhances everything that's great about my body, sort of conceals the things that maybe I don't love, and just makes me look real fucking good. And so when I see it on another woman, I get very excited about it because I don't know why. I actually don't know why it makes me excited to see. Like, I look at these outfits and I'm like, I want to wear that. Like that lingerie. I want that. And everywhere else says spy boot. Fuck yeah. I wouldn't forget women in full plate armor. Awesome. Women in bikini armor. Cringe. It's funny. It's incredibly funny that you and the other women constantly have to remind people that full body suits of armor have terrible range of motion, and wrestling women don't wear a lot because of the ease of movement. Not just, yes, Redeemer, you are talking my language. So for those of you who don't know, and I don't know if you were referring to this Redeemer or not, but you're right about women in wrestling and wrestling in general. But I am a wrestler in Chicago, a mud wrestler for the Mud Queens of Chicago. And yeah, we wear very little clothing in the ring, and it has nothing to do with being sexual. Now, is it sexualized? 100%, and that's cool, right? And it's for costuming, right? It's for character development. Like, my character is a brownie Girl Scout, right? And so my wrestling wear is a training bra or like a little, like one of those like flowery little tank tops, and day of the week underwear, right? And I have to wear as little as possible because otherwise people are going to have shit to grab, right? Not only that, but I'll have more range of motion. The women that wear like tights in the ring, OVAH, OVA. Yeah, cool. And thank you, Spy, for backing me up. I think that was sarcasm. Hey, I'm fine with both types of stuff, but full plate is my jam because I'm a huge nerd for knight-like armor. Yeah. And I'm fine with the big armor, but the other thing you got to know about me is that I'm a movement teacher. And so I look at the armor and I'm like, ugh, that seems awful to move in, right? And so that's kind of where I go. No, I wasn't kidding, says Spy Boot. You're a former wrestler. It makes sense. You know how the hell fighting actually works. Appealing to random boomer sensibilities about what is and what isn't appropriate to wear only makes fighting more difficult. Yeah, and it's funny when people talk to me about my wrestling league, and I'm only a former wrestler because of COVID. We have our next show at the end of August, which I will be wrestling in again. So I haven't wrestled in probably 3 years. So I'll be wrestling again. I'll make sure there's video. I'll definitely show it on the stream. I'm going to kick ass. I'm like stronger now. Well, there was COVID and I got pregnant and was a new mom and all that shit. But I'm way stronger now than I was before. So I'm ready. And I haven't fought in so long. I'm so ready to kick somebody's ass. Like, I can feel it inside of me, and that hasn't been there in a long time. So I'm just ready to go. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Redeemer, the other thing with the armor or a ball gown dress, that's the reason I hate long hair. I hate long hair. I hate it. I have kind of long hair right now, right? So this is my hair long. Before the pandemic, I had pixie cut, short hair. And I just haven't decided that I want to commit to going to the fucking hair salon every goddamn fucking 6 weeks, right? So now this is what my hair looks like. But man, that's I hate long hair. I just want to have short hair that doesn't get in the way. And that's why nobody ever sees my hair down, really, because I just get it out of my face. Just get it off my neck, get it out of my face. I'll be over here using magic armor and wearing a plate bikini. Well, and also, I feel like one of the defenses as a woman is we'll call it charisma. And if you're wearing something that is a little more alluring, don't you have an advantage in that too? So what's a movement teacher? Sir Buttface asks. A movement teacher is somebody who helps people move better. So basically what I do is here's just one of many, many examples. One of the more classic ones. You want to exercise, but you constantly have pain. You either have already gone to a physical therapist about it and nothing has either stuck or helped, or you don't have insurance for a physical therapist, right? Like basically they would come to me, and through certain movement modalities, it's like nervous system and movement that I work with. I help people re-educate. I call it re-matrix how they're moving from the level of the nervous system, right? And I do that through many different modalities, and I work with a team who also work with inside of many movement modalities. So my company is Comfy Fitness, and so all we do is we help people either move better, feel their bodies more effectively, and we work with people who have PTSD, because people who have a lot of trauma are really disembodied, and that it creates all kinds of issues for them in their lives. Right now, I have a really interesting client who's had a traumatic brain injury. I have clients who have tons of injuries. Healthy at Every Size community works with me. So if you're extremely overweight and you want movement and exercise, I work with those people. Yeah, that's a movement teacher. Check me out, comfyfitness.com. Little shameless plug there. I've been in the business for 15 years. So plugging myself is always shameless. And thank you for asking, Sir Buttface. A lot of armor was much more movable than most people think. Like, you can move pretty quick, and then, hell, I've seen people in full plate do roundhouses and stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of also suspension of disbelief that has to happen, because I don't play a lot of video games, but I watch my husband play a lot. And sometimes I'm a little critical of like the lack of realism in what they're wearing and what they're doing with what they're wearing. And I'm really good at suspending disbelief. So I'm okay with it. We also have far more training and methods for making stuff easier nowadays. I doubt knights were nearly that agile as a modern person training in plate armor. Imagine a ranger who uses their own hair as their quiver. Hey, Tindy. Or imagine someone having a quiver that doubles as a thing to keep their hair out of the way. Oh, yeah. Well, my business partner has a long stick that she wraps her hair in and sticks it through, and it holds this massive bun on the back of her head somehow. Misogyny. Allow. You're absolutely right here. Flashing the enemy in midst of combat is dirty, underhanded, and a fantastic method for distraction. Who cares if they think you're a shameless slut? Their throat is already slit and they're bleeding out. You know, there's actually in the ancient days of, I think, Ireland, the women used to basically flash their twats to disarm their enemies, right? And the flashing of the vagina always brought up laughter and joy and rejoicing, right? And I do think that there's so much power in sexuality, and I don't think sexuality is a bad thing or even a naughty thing, even though it's fun to be naughty. I think it's just fun. I think it's a fun thing. I think it's a powerful thing. Let's see. Honey and carrot smoothie. That sounds real fucking good. I love like a cold carrot soup. Isn't that just the shit? I have so many carrots at home right now. I should make one of those this weekend. Yeah, never heard of one, but it sounds like a good thing. Yeah, I think it is a good thing, what I do for a living. I think ultimately at the end of the day, what I help people do is enjoy moving in their bodies, right? So if you hate exercise, I help you love exercise, right? And then you can stay with me for actual exercise and training, or you can go and do your own thing. We've had so many clients be with us for, you know, a year or two and then are like, I'm going to go climbing. We have one, she's still with us, but on our online class platform, but she was a personal client of mine for years. And she did like this survivor thing where she survived for 3 days in the woods. I'm not attributing her doing that to our services, but I think that there's a level of badassery that she is because of how really in her body she is, and she's strong as fuck. I mean, her guns look a lot like these. I am shameless, and you're welcome. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's learn more about these Sisters of Battle.
As they would just never give up. Some sisters' faith was so strong that it manifested as a subtle warp powers to boost them even further. Eventually a custodian was like, this is fucking retarded, and led the famous Sister of Battle, Alicia Domicar, and some of her space nuns to the Emperor. The Emperor was like, joke's over, go kill Van Dyer, then meet me back here at nighttime to celebrate. Alicia was like, say no more daddy. And then she went and killed Van Dyer, hence ending probably one of the more autistic threats the Imperium had faced.
Wow.
After Van Dyer was found dead, the Ecclesiarchy was no longer allowed to field any men under its command to prevent a rise up like this happening again. Hence they decided to instead field and grow the Sisters of Battle to be their army, as this was technically okay. None of them were men. Loopholes
Her lipstick
OP.
is on fleek.
Over the following millennia, the Sisters of Battle grew into their thousands strong and spread across the galaxy in convents. They were a shared military force between different inquisitorial orders, such as the Ordo Hereticus. Basically all of the factions of the Imperium that burn anyone who they think might have caught a whiff of chaos usually has access to the Sisters of Battle. Now, even though the Emperor did his best to try and make everyone become an atheist, his time spent as a quadriplegic has actually benefited from the opposite coming true. Due to the combined belief of countless people, the Emperor can do wacky shit with the warp, including making some people living saints. Basically, an extremely devout and brave individual will need to die in service of the Imperium. They will then be brought back to life with new paladin-like powers, such as morale boost, holy fire, invulnerability, etc. Some revive with small or no powers, like Drossus. When this occurs, all the religious nutters have a circle jerk and declare them as a living saint. Meaning there are probably a lot of battles that involved this warp fuckery, however the Inquisition didn't notice them, so they weren't given the superficial title of living saint, if that makes sense. The most famous of all these saints was Saint Celestine, who was also overpowered as shit. The living saints are basically greater demons of the Emperor, so they can't actually die. In saying that though, she has to obey similar rules, i.e. lots of faith and a lot of warp fuckery. She was once a humble sister repenter, who got absolutely repented to death along with her Sisters of Battle. But she survived, and continued to fight the good fight. Not quite yet the literal angel of death we know her as, but definitely glowing a little bit. She then insisted that they travel to some frozen shit planet, where she recovered some extremely sacred and holy artifacts, namely Golden Power Armor and the Ardent Blade. With these artifacts, she went from a level 30 thug to a level 100 mafia boss.
Holy shit.
She fought hard for the Imperium in this state, until she got Allah Akbar'd by some chaos dude who suicide nuked himself while fighting it. She was blown to smithereens, however just like greater demons, she could come back to life if the Emperor desired it, after a certain amount of time. And come back she did. She was basically the Sisters of Battle's version of the Sanguinor. Pop in, save the day, then fuck off. Eventually, she would stop being a little elusive bitch when Abaddon the shit cunt attempted to conquer Cadia for like the 13th time. She brought with her a bunch of Sisters of Battle and helped turn the tide of battle, even engaging Abaddon in a 1v1. An interesting point to note is that when Cole activated the Necron pylons and cleansed the warp from Cadia, the demons were banished and Saint Celestine was weakened, but not banished. This is due to the Emperor empowering the souls of mortals to create his warp entities rather than just making them out of warp stuff. Celestine would go on to stab Abaddon, causing him to run away and drop a Blackstone fortress on Cadia, because he's a really sore loser. Celestine would then go on to help guide the survivors of Cadia to Gulliman, where they would then resurrect him. She then went with them to Terra, where G-Man had a heart-to-heart with Daddy, and she swore she would fight with him to save the Imperium. And she did okay until she met Khan the Betrayer, who killed the shit out of her. But yeah, holy demon, she'll be back. Just like how the Space Marines are separated into distinctive chapters, the Sisters are separated into orders, meaning players who use them on tabletop can kinda just make their own order if they want. The 6 main ones are the Argent Shroud, genuine space paladins who are actually pretty good people. Think of them as the salamanders of the Sisters. Ebon Chalice, Vanilla Hose who wear white and black armor, Sacred Rose who like to engage in tactical warfare.
He's got a haircut like mine!
For the Emperor! And then Naruto running at Greater Demons. The Blood Rose, who are the Order who autistically screech, For the Emperor! And Naruto run at Greater Demons. Our Martyred Lady, the poster girl Ultramarines of the Sisters. The Order that Saint Celestine is from, and then there's the Valorious Heart, who feel really bad about the whole Van Dyer situation, hence regularly punish themselves and go all fanatical. Now with all their faith and willpower, can the Sisters fall to chaos? Or are they just like the Custodes, Grey Knights and Sisters of Silence who cannot fall? Well, it turns out they can, but it's extremely difficult and doesn't happen often. The most famous case being Muriel Sabathiel. Whatever the fuck her name is. Who's taken prisoner by the Emperor's children. Now, rape jokes aren't really funny, but sadly for Muriel, she was taken by the Emperor's children, and well, it wasn't really a joke for her. After only a couple of days, she had embraced Slanesh, which I can only assume meant she was suffering from a severe case of repressed Catholic girl syndrome, as well as the fact that she was probably fed a diet of drugs and dick during her captivity. She then went on to go on mass killings and eventually killed some of her previous sisters. After that, she kind of vanished from the law, however states she is hunting Eldar, as that is Slanesh's preferred meal. Other fallings don't really count, as it was either temporary due to manipulations or from straight up mind control. I kinda hope Muriel pops up again at some point, because she has a lot of potential as a character. I also got hentai commissioned of it for my Patreon, so there's some lore-friendly shit for you there. In recent times, the Sisters of Battle have been getting a decent amount of love from Games Workshop, with plenty of new models and rules to flesh out their faction once again. This also brings us to today's debate. Are the Sisters of Battle actually hot or not? Well, just like anything, you have fit chicks and ugly bitches. The reality is, due to their strict diets, lots of exercise, and hectic levels of faith, they are as good as they can look. Now, you can't polish shit, but all of them are in great shape, so that's a tick. I think it just boils down to Games Workshop's inability to make a miniature model without an autistic facial expression. Overall, the Sisters of Battle will be the ones that do you, doggy. They'll beat you to an inch of your life and you'll love every second of it. With thighs that could crush watermelons, these holy thoughts purge the galaxy of its heresy, with nothing but bolters, power armor, and unbreakable faith in the Emperor. And that does us for today, guys. All the lore and plot of the Sisters of Battle that really matters.
Man, I love it.
I expect their lore to continue.
Although, Redeemer, I'm telling you, I think for Halloween, I'm going to dress up as Girlfriend from Friday Night Funkin', because I have that outfit, and I just need that auburn wig. And I got it. Okay, let's see. The opposite, really. Knights were from basically birth trained to be able to move and fight in plate mail. I'd say the modern person is less agile. But I wonder if our chain mail or plate mail would be more agile than back then. Wow, that's an incredibly nice attitude to have. If only we had the attitude nowadays, life would be more fun. Absolutely. And I think medieval people were stupid, which isn't true. They were generally just as smart as modern people, even though their technology was less developed. Nothing wrong with being shameless. I may be cringe, but that makes me free. That is beautiful. I actually love that a lot. And that quote actually gives me some freedom, because I feel like I am kind of cringe a lot of the time. Like, that's why I'm shocked that I have this job. Don't tell anybody. Who has the TTS horny clip currently? Kira has to see it. Yeah. Show it. It's quite pretty. Yeah, she's gorgeous. They were all gorgeous. Except for the little figurine. a little rough in the face, but that's okay. Maybe a kinder humanity, just as bad, but with less religion. Yeah, because the Emperor wasn't into religion, so Tindy got you. Or knowing 40K, they'd somehow be even more mean. But then again, religion has a strong connection to xenophobia, but so does patriotism. a gigantic chaos sigil-shaped starship. Yeah, the Blackstone Fortress. Oh, you got ads again. Huh. Well, a single ad. The Blackstone fortresses were super weapons constructed by the old ones, and Abaddon lost so hard he had to throw one of his very limited number of them at the first line of defense of the Imperium from Chaos after 12 previous failures, and he still got his ass handed to him. Yeah, rape is bad. And it happens, right? Like, especially in war. So I'm guessing, again, like this is a fantastical world. It's a world about war. My expectation is that there would be a lot of rape in the world of war. Only hot takes here. Thick thighs to crush demon lives. There's something in music about hentai based off of something like that. Like, yeah, it's totally canon. Didn't you know about what happened in the lore? Yeah, honestly, that's what we are starting to realize. That humans are somewhat of the same intelligence throughout history. Yeah. What changes the most is the level of gullibility and religious obsession. Yeah, it's true, and it's really unfortunate, isn't it? When you think about some of the things that people believe nowadays and how kind of like out there some of it is, and you get to thinking like, oh, like not much has changed in the level of our I guess gullibility. I'm a gullible person. I mean, I don't really, when I hear about a conspiracy theory, if I'm actually curious about it, I'll look it up, and most of the time I'm just curious about how it came to be. I usually don't believe it right from the start, from the jump. Yeah, being any level of lighter can make the difference in a full suit of armor. Introduce her to AOS. Let's ground ourselves. I love it, Redeemer. Perfect. Yeah, so we're gonna play around a little bit in a different world here in just a moment, but I have to run to the restroom first. And then I will be right back, okay? Because I'm gonna pee my pants. BRB skis.